This is the Irish Hospitals Sweepstakes program for your entertainment. And remember,
when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come true.
For the 56 years of its existence, the Irish Hospitals Sweeps lived in a world of riches and wealth. It had contributed over £270 million in prizes and over £130 million to the hospital's building fund. It had a glamour and a concept that it made no difference where you are, you could wish upon a star. Anything your heart desired would come to you. But the reality for the 147 employees who were made redundant here last February, their dream world was totally shattered.
I expected more after 40 years working and only got in the region of 3,000.
As far as the pension goes, it's a deferred pension. People will have to wait till they're 65 years of age to get it. And most of the people are in their late 50s. Some people would only be getting about £9 or £10. I mean, most of us have between 35 and 40 years service. And we feel we've just been thrown on the scrap heap.
I feel the government owe us a lot, for the sale of the land here and the lease. There's 1.5 million lying somewhere. It's supposed to be for compensation for the staff.
The workers' wages were unbelievably low. For example, a senior cashier with 35 years service had a gross wage of £118 a week, in comparison to the average industrial wage, which was £188 a week, or for a clerical worker, over £200 a week. Because their wages were so low, their statutory redundancy and their PRSI payments were equally low. Maura Doolan worked in the Irish Hospitals Sweeps for 40 years, and for some of those years she was shop steward with the FWUI. I asked her, why was it that their wages were so low?
Well, it's something, I suppose it's very hard to explain. Originally, the 40s and 50s, we were well paid in comparison with other companies, even in comparison with the junior grades in the service. But around the 1950s and 60s, we didn't increase. We got no increments. Where other places were getting, other companies and even the civil service were getting yearly increments. We didn't. Now, we didn't seem to realise it at the time because it wasn't known at that time what wages or salaries were in other firms.
What are your circumstances? And are there others worse than you are?
Yes, there'd be one or two probably, even a couple of them even worse off. Those who'd be living in a flat would be worse off than those of us who have our own homes, although, as I've said before, owning your own house doesn't put bread on the table. So it's pretty hard. You survive. And as the Beatles have said, with some help from your friends, that's the only way you can survive. Because I only get about 46 plus on unemployment.
And what about the pension?
Well, the pension, I myself personally anyway, decided not to take a weekly pension because I just don't trust anybody any longer.
I had a choice of £5 a week of a pension or taking a lump sum of 2,600. So
£5 a week?
Yes, £5 a week. So I opted for the lump sum. It seemed the sensible thing to do at the time.
Now, what happens when your PRSI runs out after Christmas?
Well, as far as I understand anyway, I think it's assistance, unemployment assistance it's called. It's somewhere in the region of £35 a week, which isn't really very much. It's only a pittance, really.
And how are you going to keep your flat on that kind of money?
Well, I should imagine it'd be next nigh, be nearly impossible. What little redundancy I have won't last very long.
Who do you blame for all this, Carl?
I blame, number one, I suppose I blame the management of Hospitals Trust for part of it, and I also blame, I think the previous government could have given more consideration to us. After all, the lottery is bringing in millions. Now it has brought in millions, and I feel that we were pushed aside a bit in order to make way for the lottery.
The people who did well out of the sweep would be the directors and the executive, the higher executive people there, agents, particularly we'd say American Indian agents. The hospitals made money out of it, the government made money out of it, but the employees didn't make any money, and at the moment have nothing.
Recently, the Labour Court made a recommendation that the workers be given 2 extra weeks' pay for every year of service. The question is, where's that money going to come from? The workers were hoping to get it from one of 3 sources. 1, that the liquidators would pay it. 2, that the Minister for Health would pay it from the sale of the site. Or 3, that the money presently lodged in the fund of unclaimed prizes would be released to them. But their hopes have been dashed because 1, the liquidators say they can't do it because of the Companies Act. The Minister for Health has indicated that he will use all the money from the sale of the site for his own department, which leaves the trust fund of unclaimed prizes. Now, under the terms of the trust, they cannot release that money to anybody else other than the prize winner. But it would only take a simple act of the Oireachtas to change the terms of reference of that trust. So it really is a question that if there is the political will, then there definitely is a political way.